From CRI Simple Numbers, this is Profitability Playbook, the Simple Numbers Podcast, a podcast for those championing market growth and anchoring the nation's economy, small businesses, and entrepreneurs.
Hey there. Welcome to another episode of the Simple Numbers Profitability Playbook podcast. I'm Mike Maxson. That's Brandon Gray. And we're back, man. We've been a little bit apart lately. It's been...
It hadn't been the same. Now, I'm not going to say it hasn't been good, but, just hasn't been the same. So, but yeah, I know, Mike, you've had a couple things going on. So I was out of town for, went out to New Mexico. Had to speak to several clients out there and some folks interested in simple numbers. So it was a great trip. And you know what? About to head back out to New Mexico.
We're going back to who would have ever thought, right? Where did this come from? We're Alabamians heading to New Mexico.
New Mexico, Alabama, I guess. I don't know, but we're headed out there for our mastermind with about a dozen of our clients, and we've talked about them before, and so we'll do, when we get back from mastermind, we will do a podcast with a few of the insights and takeaways that we have gotten from this session, and there are always plenty of them. When you get a group of a dozen hard-charging, high-performing, high-energy entrepreneurs together, there's magic that happens. So we're looking forward to that. But what we got today, Mike? What are we going to talk about?
Man, there's a lot going on. We're going to do a media mash today and go through some things and try to hit on a theme. We are, and for everyone listening, we are pre-recording because we are about to be busy the next couple of weeks. Mastermind, we got a conference to go to. Man, I'm going to go through a 2-week period where I'm going to hit New Mexico, Gulf Shores for my kids' soccer tournament, then to Dallas. Right after that, I have 12 hours in my house the moment we leave from March 9th, till we get back from Dallas the following Wednesday. So should be a good time. But yeah, we're going to talk about some things. I tried to keep it a theme, a lot around the economy, things going on. And, man, we've been here before where we jumped on Venezuela, and now we're jumping on Iran, and that's going to have some effects on things, including the global oil markets. And so one of the things that is, Americans over the last, I don't know if you lived under a rock, but prices have been higher, over the last couple of years. Yeah. Well, one of the things we've been able to benefit from is lower gas. And if you look at the article I'm talking about here is, what the Iran strikes could mean for U.S. inflation is that we actually dropped from 2.7 to 2.4% from December to January on the backs of lower gas prices. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Caveat. However, we'll just use that for today. The gas prices are now, have went up immediately, due to that, the oil situation in Iran. And so we're running up now, against that. They said, on average, it went up, I don't know, a few cents, obviously, and that's going to be different, across the country. But, they're predicting it could potentially go up to $100 a barrel and maybe push inflation about close to another percent. So FYI, we're talking to clients all the time, and expenses are one thing that, even in our 100 company model, they're not going down. And so for those of you out there, using vehicles, fleet, trucks, things like that, there's going to be some impact for this, and it's going to be felt at the pump. And so wanted to touch on that. Brandon, you got anything to say on that one?
Welcome back, the old fuel surcharge. Been a while since we've seen it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely most likely on its way, depending upon how long this conflict lasts. And if you're in a business that has the ability to have some flexibility around those items, you really need to look at it and consider it. Especially as it impacts potentially global shipping and some of those kind of things. There's going to be a little bit of of kind of two ships crossing in the night in terms of, well, it's too late to put that in place for some orders and what have you, but you're probably gonna experience it from some of your vendors. For the rest of us who maybe don't have the ability to tack on a full fuel surcharge or don't want to, I'm just not a fan of nickel and diamond, and not to say it doesn't have its place,
Yeah.
but it's kind of one of those things that you might actually find it is to be a little bit of an advantage in some situations if you're not doing it. It's just another kind of one of those things that points out that you have to be profitable with where you're at in the current marketplace because the inputs with cost are volatile and are going to continue to change. So if you're not there, we need to do some work. We need to call us. We need to do some work on that. Secondly, as you look at, particularly long-term contracts and things that you may be giving prices on for 6, 9, 12, 18 months into the future, you need to have a little bit of a CYA clause in there on a couple items. We saw this back right after COVID, whenever labor inflation skyrocketed. I had a client at the time who had signed a 5-year contract, fixed price, in 2019.
Oh,
yeah. By 2023, every time they worked on that contract, they were essentially writing a check to the customer because their labor costs were higher than what the contracted rate was. So you need to have a couple things in contracts that are if they're going to be long term, that will give you some flexibility based on these changes that are outside of your control to do a change order with.
yeah, that seems to be where it always is, man, and that's the reason why I brought this up, out of the sheer fact that these are things you gotta be paying attention to pass that cost on, especially if you are billing for it. Yeah, you might just have your operating expense of fuel, right? Like, just it's there, it's gonna happen, you gotta drive, however you do it, but if the billing goes back to the customer like, "Hey, we're hauling this," or whatever, you gotta make sure you're aware of gas prices, aware of what you're passing through, because a lot of times people aren't paying attention to those expenses and then never pass it through. Next thing you know, 3 months go by and they're like, "Man, I don't know what's going on with my
How's
margin."
your margin down 3 points?
And yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so that leads into the next 2 articles I picked about 2 companies retail-wise, and this is important for everyone because I believe that, the consumer is always telling the story of what's going on. And so the first article is, Target sales just fell again. And now it's
The
new
company
CEO
Target?
plans for a turnaround. The company, the
Okay.
company Target. Yeah. It's probably your favorite place to shop. I could see you there.
I'm a Walmart guy.
The next one, I bet you are, man. Like, hey, so the first time I ever experienced Walmart, and I mean, where I was from in Pennsylvania, I don't think they'd got there yet. It was kind of the first time. It was in West Virginia when I ran into one, and I'm in college, and this kid, he's from West Virginia, is one of my sweet mates there, and he's like, "Man, we got to go over to Walmart." I'm like, "Walmart? I never heard of that." He's like, "Man, if Walmart ain't gotten it, you ain't needing it."
Amen.
And I never forgot that. I can totally see I can totally see that phrase being out in your neck of the woods. But the next one is Best Buy, and I'm gonna go back and forth between these ones, but this is Best Buy forecasts tepid growth as consumer demand slows. So both articles talking about um higher prices in their company. So, Target, was, the victim of that as well as they went through, so for example, in recent years, Target has struggled to boost sales as shoppers complained of messy stores, high prices, and less exciting products. As inflation grew, many consumers also pulled back on buying discretionary items, right? When we've been talking about this a lot. Um, the throw pillows, clothing, and other splurges Target is known for. So that's where they've been hit. Best Buy, right? Same thing. Best Buy comes, they forecast their growth. Um, and so what they said here is projected weak growth for the year ahead as it expects consumers to continue hunting for value. And back to Target again. They talk about increased competition as Amazon, Walmart, Costco have done a better job of showing that value to them. So the reason I chose these is because it's more of a larger piece that we deal with our clients all the time, right? Even the big box stores, as you can see, are feeling it too of exactly what we talk about. Right, Brandon?
Not surprised. Um, one of the data points we're real curious to see is kind of what was going to happen after the retail season in Q4. Yeah. Because we have long since held that to the belief that consumer spending is declining, it's been going down, but the American way is Santa Claus is coming, regardless of how much is on the credit card and what have you. We're just going to pile up more debt, and then we'll deal with that later. And I think later is getting here sooner, in some cases. But the thing that stands out to me is not so much the consumer mindset, because we've talked about that a lot. And for those of you who may just be hopping on the podcast, we are seeing across the board, if you are in a discretionary service or product, it is not working. There is not extra money laying around for consumers to just go spend on a discretionary item. Now, if you're in necessity or luxury, it's pretty good. Folks that are buying luxury goods, they're still moving along very nicely. The income's still there. If you're a necessity, they don't have a choice. Have to. But the one in the middle is really, really tough. But the thing that stands out about it, what is Target's competitive advantage relative to Walmart, Costco, Sam's Club, whoever, they're competing against? And it looks to me that they may have lost their way just a little bit.
Yeah, I always felt like they were another tier. This is just okay. I'm a total dude. I'm just gonna like I'm not a big shopper at Target or Walmart or whatever, but in going in between them, like I felt like there's Walmart's on one level, and like Target's main thing was I'm trying to hit another.
Are you talking about there's
Yeah,
not
like next
people in
step
Target
up.
wearing their pajama pants?
Correct. Yeah, like something like that. Yeah, like that next level up of stuff. Don't go there much. But just the times I have been, um, that's really what it's like.
And Best
But
Buy's a similar kind of thing.
I mean, there's nothing.
Best Buy's been a little bit of a dinosaur.
But there's nothing. Yeah, and yeah, and I will say this though that I mean Walmart where they win is their whole delivery thing is good, man. Like, their whole delivery thing is good. If you don't want to really like go over to Target and Walmart, you got Amazon. You can find more stuff there. Get see in a couple days. Like, man, it's tough for them right now. But if what I've seen with the discretionary businesses like you're talking about, you really got to fight for that value in the marketplace, like, because we talked about before, the market is not growing, so you're fighting for market share, so if you are discretionary, you're probably really in a fight for market share, and so you got to be delivering or being innovative of something to get people to part with that money, sooner rather than later, because a lot of discretionary things are just pushed off, not that they don't want to do it. And it seems like to me that's what both of these are facing is
Yep.
like, hey, look, you're kind of don't have the competitive advantage and you're a little bit pricier, so I'm just gonna hold out.
Yep.
And I chose those for the sheer fact of that is exactly what our clients are facing.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to run that same filter by your own business. It's easy to look at the bigs and kind of go, oh yeah, yeah. But when, what is it? How in tune am I with my customer or client base? Do they know my competitive advantage? Does your team know? Does your sales and marketing team know what your competitive advantage is? And most importantly, how to communicate that in a compelling way. Because as Mike said, there's the dollars that are being spent are not growing. So if you want more margin, you got to go take it from a competitor. And you can't take it if you don't really make a compelling case as to why you're better. And then even after you do that, you still have got to run an operationally excellent company because you're one slip away.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. All right. I was in Cracker Barrel this weekend.
Oh, me too. I did too. I did.
They start, and I can't speak for all Cracker Barrels, but normally you kind of knew what you were going to get when you go to Cracker Barrel. It's going to be, kind of Southern style, home style cooking. It was going to be a pleasant environment. It was going to be clean. It was going to, all the things you just expect from a chain like that. It was not a good experience. It was slow. My wife's fork was dirty. Um,
Ooh.
half the food came out one time, the other half come out at another time. It was just so. I just said when we left, I said, "Well, Cracker Barrel's off the list." I'm going to spend that same dollar somewhere else now. So you got to be operationally excellent and be profitable. So one slip in any of those, and you're facing real challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, people almost like look for that excuse of like, well, I was spending the money as long as you're good. The one slip up, it's
Yep.
game over.
No doubt.
I mean, that's a tough one to deal with. Um, the next thing is I focused on real estate. And so two things with real estate. And again, this sort of ties in oil, retail, products, right? And then the next is housing. And so some good news, bad news there with this. Home price growth slowed in December. That's the first time in a while, but it's slowing. It just grew 1.3% for the year. And so the article is US home price growth slows in December. Um, and so only 1.3%. And so again, another indication of the market of people just not throwing tons of money around. Now, on the flip side of that, we did have the rates fall below 6% for the first time since 2022. Another article titled just like that, mortgage rates fell below 6% for the first time since 2022, which is more of a psychological thing, but maybe it'll boost some purchasing in home prices. And so, you know, to me though, and the reason I selected like this pod of articles was Brandon, again, to bring it back to like the 100 company model, is this is exactly like just fueling in there with it. We have value searching. People are shunning higher prices. Things aren't, able to generate more from because we always talked about, is there a price ceiling for a lot of things, even housing right now? People, not growing, not spending more, things might sit on the market longer. Um, and so we have these areas of the economy that are all feeling the pinch. And I'm not here to be doom or gloom, or that's why I was looking at these. The idea was to show our listeners, or to tell you're listening to this, that these are the challenges you're facing and how do you overcome them? And what do you have to do differently in the market, because it's out there, and for the small business person it's a lot more difficult because you don't have Walmart attached to the front of you, you don't have Target attached to you, or anything like that. You're in a much different sort of fight than than they are. They can spend some of the wear out of it. They got some marketing things that a lot of businesses don't have, and so therefore, you're the small business owners at a disadvantage here, and has to fight a different battle.
Two thoughts. One may be a little controversial and unpopular, so I may get some hate mail after the second. But the first thought, yeah, the first thing is that we need the real estate sector to start functioning. I think we can all agree on that one.
Oh yeah.
We need it, and depending upon where you are in the country, there are areas to where it's still booming and it's double-digit home increases year over year, and you have an undersupply of housing, and the economy's hot, and okay, so you're kind of insulated. There's several pockets, mainly in the southeast, that we see and hear about that. Particularly, we need commercial construction to really start to take back off, and because if you take the inflation of construction cost out of the equation, and you take data center construction out of the equation, construction market is for commercial construction across the U.S. is almost dead. And you really need that running because of the spin-off effect of all the other industries. So I don't think it's going to just rapidly change overnight. It's going to take a while. We're in the process of a pretty substantial economic reset without the normal pain that we've seen in the past of recession, maybe a year, 18 months, back up and roll. This thing's looking more like a big U. We're just going to, and most likely by design, given the monetary policy of the Fed. We're most likely going to wallow right down here for a while, not really go into a recession by definition, but we're going to keep it really close for a while, and then the forces of the economy will eventually bring us back up. That none of us like that answer. It's going to take a long time. The other thought, and I think
when the government's going to keep dumping money in.
Oh yeah, that's the part where they keep us just above a recession. Because no one wants to run for office in an environment if you're an incumbent during a recession. So I'm a skeptic, right? The second thing, and this is the one that may not be popular. Throw this out here, a little off topic, with the article got me brought up this thought. Your home is not an investment. Now, I know what everybody talks about in terms of, okay, hey, this is what I paid for my home, and this is what I sold my home for, and this I got a portion or all of it without paying capital gains tax on it. I've come around to the view that your home is not an investment. You need a place to live. The only time you get to benefit, well, with the exception of your flipping houses, but the only other time you're going to get the benefit from your home being an investment is when the game is over. You either got to downsize in home, or it's not your home anymore, it's the kids. So is it an investment for your kids' future? Potentially. For yours, you're not going to see any of that money. And so I kind of just, hey, based on income and what have you, and your lifestyle, here's a nice place or what have you, here's how I want to live and what have you. But I'm not looking at it going, this is a great investment opportunity, especially for an entrepreneur. Because when you look at the return that your business generates, if you're at 15% or greater gross margin to profit, you are most likely getting a 50% return on your business. When you look at the equity in your business, which is essentially what you have to keep inside that business to keep it rolling, you look at the profit that it's generating off that equity, it's at least 50% return. So, hey, I'm gonna go live, have a nice place to live and what have you, but I'm not trying to I'm not hurting the business to afford a lifestyle or a home. Because why would I take money out of a 50% returning investment and put it into one that's generating 5-10%? Anyway, just throw it out there, something to think about. I probably have a lot of people mad.
Oh, hey, I'll take your side. I'll take your side on it. Since some life circumstances has changed, I live in a house I rented. Let me tell you something. It's a newfound freedom, man. I don't worry about anything. I keep the lawn mowed, take care of it. That's about it. And I experienced very little problems, and once upon a time I was like, oh, investment, own a house. I gotta have it. And now I kick back and I'm like, man, this is kind of nice. Just for me personally, I dig it, sign me up. Oh, hey, one thing before we go, we forgot to mention something that's going on in November.
Are you talking about the Simple Numbers Summit?
Do you know what Yes, I am. I was worried you weren't gonna.
I had it on the list. I've been opening the podcast with it, so I'm switching it around. If anybody's still listening, then they're going to got it now. But
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Simple Numbers Summit, November 9th through 11th, Austin, Texas. As a matter of fact, today was emailing one of our speakers that's going to be there. We're amped. This thing is going to be a blast. And here's the thing that I want everyone to just kind of buy into. The speakers are going to be great. The breakouts are going to be great. Okay, that's table stakes for a good conference. I think the real benefit of coming is being able to meet other Simple Numbers clients and they're all very willing to talk and to share and to bounce ideas off of. And so, the times that we spend together in meals, the time that, in breaks, networking and outside. And when I say networking, it's not to try to go and sell your service or product. It's to learn about what those businesses are doing that's working and how you can apply it to yours. Because you're going to be around some of the best in the world when it comes to running a privately held business. And I guarantee you're going, if you will put the effort into coming and maybe getting out of your comfort zone just a little bit, but asking the person across the table from you, what do you do? How's your business going? Yada, yada, yada. You're going to get nuggets that will change your business, guaranteed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we are loaded with some people coming that are just awesome at business. They really are. I mean, I got my MBA and everything, but and I've been lucky and fortunate to be able to help companies. And it's like it's like the weirdest form of help because I'm learning from them too, I mean, as we go through it, just from all aspects of it. Yeah, I might help with the finance side, but what I've learned about how they might operate the rest of it. And some of the speakers we got, including yours truly, are pretty awesome. So I'm looking forward to it. I'll be there. Well, awesome. Well, we appreciate y'all joining us. Y'all have a good one. And
if you want to know more about driving sustainable profitability for your business or are interested in learning more about CRI Simple Numbers, please visit our website at simplenumberscri.com. Thanks for listening to this episode of Profitability Playbook, the Simple Numbers Podcast. You can subscribe to Profitability Playbook on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you prefer to listen to podcasts. If you like what you heard today, please leave us a review. This podcast is brought to you by CRI Simple Numbers LLC, a division of CRI Capital Group LLC, and a subsidiary of CRI Advisors LLC. CRI is the trusted brand under which Carr, Riggs & Ingram LLC, the CPA firm, and CRI Advisors LLC, along with its subsidiaries, deliver professional services. Please note, Carr, Riggs & Ingram LLC is a licensed independent CPA firm offering attest services, whereas CRI Advisors LLC and its subsidiaries specialize in providing tax and business consulting services. These entities operate within an alternative practice structure as defined by the AICPA Code of Professional Conduct and comply fully with applicable laws, regulations, and professional standards. Ready to simplify your business finances and drive growth? Explore valuable resources, books, and tools designed for entrepreneurs and small businesses at simplenumberscri.com.